Our movie begins with an overturned car from a terrible accident, and a beautiful girl stands nearby, staring at it before walking toward it. Inside the wreck, another girl lies lifeless, but strangely, the beautiful girl doesn't try to help her. Instead, she only takes a ring with a distinctive symbol from the victim's hand before leaving. We then see her swimming in a lake, and afterward, she gets dressed and walks away as if nothing happened. Later, private investigator Honey Donnie arrives at the crash site, carefully examining the lifeless girl inside, while suspicions begin to creep into her mind. At the same location, police detective Marty appears and tells Honey that this was just an ordinary traffic accident, nothing more, and insists that there's no crime involved. He even asks her out on a date, but Honey bluntly tells him that she likes girls, then walks away, leaving him stunned. Honey heads back to her office, where a man obsessed with cleanliness shows up, wanting to speak with her. He complains that his friend treats him badly, but Honey reminds him that she's just a private investigator, not a relationship counselor, and it isn't her job to patch up arguments between friends. After finishing work, she heads home, where we meet her sister, Heidi, who has many children. Among all her kids, the one who matters most to our story is Corinne, a rebellious teenage girl with a mischievous streak. While they're chatting, the youngest boy, Daisy, innocently asks his aunt Honey to marry him. Honey gently explains that it's impossible since she's his aunt, and besides, it would lead to family complications and even get them arrested. A little later, Honey sits outside with her sister, and together they watch Corinne climbing into a car with her bad boy boyfriend. That same night, we're introduced to the sleazy preacher, Drew Devlin, a charismatic figure with many devoted followers who believe in him. Despite his religious persona, every night he sleeps with one of the young women under his influence, abusing their trust and faith. Of course, Drew Devlin has his followers convinced that by sleeping with him, their sins will be forgiven and they will receive his blessing. In the middle of this, his assistant Shoji interrupts him, telling him that while they were transporting a shipment, the son of one of the important clients started foaming at the mouth and his life ended. Drew coldly asks if the boy is still alive or not, and when Shoji confirms that his life has ended, Drew snaps at him, scolding him for interrupting with something so meaningless if the boy is already dead. Drew goes to check on the father and his deceased son, but he shows no sympathy whatsoever, completely detached, unaffected by the father's grief. Meanwhile, Honey heads to a local shop where she asks about the dead girl from the car accident, Amanda Button. The shopkeeper says he knows nothing unusual about Amanda, only that she lived nearby with her family and never behaved strangely. Honey leaves, still unconvinced. At the same time, Drew delivers a bag of money to the beautiful girl we saw at the beginning of the film. We learn her name is Cher, and she works to cover up Drew's dirty dealings while also supplying him with illegal substances. She even hands him the distinctive ring she took from Amanda's finger, further showing her role as his accomplice. Through this exchange, it becomes clear just how corrupt Drew is, pretending to be righteous in public while secretly trafficking drugs and exploiting his followers. On the other side, Honey talks with her colleague Marty, who tells her that forensics and the medical examiner have examined Amanda's body and determined that she died of a stroke while driving. He advises Honey to drop the case and move on, but she refuses to let it go. Determined, she goes to her colleague MJ to get Amanda Button's address, and it's clear from their interaction that a spark of attraction is growing between the two women. In another setting, we see a young man named Colligan sitting at a bar when a guy named Hector walks in and demands that he pay for parking his car in the garage. Colligan takes him outside and explains that he doesn't have any money because he has a date and needs the cash. When Hector insists on collecting the fee, things escalate into a fight that ends with Hector overpowering him, beating him down, then running him over with his car before speeding away. All of this happens right in front of the bartender, who witnesses everything. The next morning, we see Honey driving to Amanda's house. She arrives and meets Amanda's mother and father, asking them if their daughter had shown any unusual behavior recently. They assure her that Amanda was completely normal, showing no signs of anything strange. Honey then heads into Amanda's room to investigate and notices she was well read, surrounded by many books. While examining the room, something under the bed catches her eye. When she checks, she discovers a robe, one that matches those worn by Drew Devlin's followers. And with it, something even stranger, which you, dear viewer, can see for yourself. Meanwhile, Drew is addressing his congregation, all of whom are wearing the same robes Honey just found. As he speaks, we see just how manipulative and persuasive he is, twisting words to brainwash his followers and implant ideas that serve only his selfish interests. The room is filled with many beautiful young women, highlighting his exploitation even further. After his speech, Drew Drew retreats to his private quarters with his assistant Shoji. There, Shoji informs him that Colligan, one of their workers, was run over outside a bar and killed, and that this is bound to bring them serious trouble soon. He also tells him the man responsible was a young guy named Hector. Drew, showing his cold-blooded nature once again, orders Shoji that they must take Hector out before things spiral further out of control. On Hector's side, we see that he lives with his grandmother, who has Native American roots. Their relationship is very close, and he helps her with household chores, even going outside to bring in the laundry from the clothesline himself. While collecting the laundry, Hector hears strange noises, but he brushes it off and continues. When he returns inside, he is horrified to find that his grandmother has been murdered, killed at the hands of Shoji. A brutal fight breaks out between Hector and Shoji, and in a dramatic turn, Hector manages to overpower him and finally ends Shoji's life with a gunshot. Meanwhile, the timid man continues to complain to Honey about his personal problems, but Honey once again refuses to get involved. Later that evening, the police officers gather at the bar, and for the first time, Honey gets very close to MJ in this public setting. There's a noticeable tension between them, with strange behavior and lingering glances exchanged, making it clear that MJ is also attracted to Honey. Honey, in turn, seems genuinely happy and relaxed around her, and their conversation ends with the two of them leaving together and heading home. The next morning, Corinne shows up at her Aunt Honey's place, visibly shaken and with a bruise around her eye, making it clear that she's been assaulted. She comes to Honey for support, knowing her aunt will help her, unlike her mother, who would simply blame her and scold her for ignoring her warnings about the bad boy she was seeing. Meanwhile, Drew is seen with two young women when Hector storms in, seeking revenge, knowing that Shoji was Drew's right-hand man. But Drew proves far more cunning and ruthless. He overpowers Hector and shoots him without hesitation. On another front, Corinne goes to her workplace where she notices an older man staring at her intently. As viewers, we also notice something unusual. Corinne is wearing green lipstick. At the same time, Drew is growing more agitated and unstable, overwhelmed by the mounting troubles crashing down on his head. The troubles pile up even more when Honey shows up to question Drew directly about Amanda and his connection to her. Drew calmly insists that his relationship with Amanda was nothing unusual. She was just one of his followers, and he merely felt sympathy for her. Honey confronts him about the strange robe she found in Amanda's room, but he denies everything, claiming he has no knowledge of it. When she presses further, asking if he ever noticed anything odd about Amanda, Drew replies that she was just like the rest of them, lost. Despite Honey's relentless pressure, Drew remains composed, coolly denying all accusations. He even goes as far as suggesting that he could help Honey clear her mind if she came back to his house, offering to share some of his light with her. That night, Honey spends time with MJ, and the two have a deeply personal conversation. MJ confides that her father used to punish her harshly when she was a child, leaving her scarred and resentful toward men, which is why she now only loves women. Honey listens with empathy, sharing in her pain and reassuring her that she supports her fully. Meanwhile, Corinne steps outside for a walk, once again wearing that same green lipstick, a detail we'll need to remember later. While out, she spots the same older man waiting for her on the road. Frightened, she runs away. The following morning, Honey studies Amanda's photograph, lost in thought about the case. She admits to her assistant that the investigation feels like a maze. Every time she finds a lead, it only brings her back to square one. Matters take a darker turn when Honey's sister calls in distress, telling her that Corinne has gone missing and hasn't returned home, and she begs Honey to do something. Determined, Honey goes straight to Corinne's bad boy boyfriend. She puts him in his place, threatening to end him if he doesn't talk. But he swears the last time he saw Corinne was 2 days ago. So Honey takes the bad boy's shotgun, breaks it outside, then slaps a note on his car, smashes his side mirror, and walks away. Later, when she's back home, there's a knock at the door. She immediately knows it's her father. What follows is a conversation heavy with emotion, filled with both love and the weight of the past. Honey confronts him, accusing him of being cruel to her as a child, of being an irresponsible father who abandoned them. He, in turn, shows remorse, confessing that all he wants now is their forgiveness before he dies, since he's grown old and feels his life could end at any moment. After their bittersweet exchange, Honey continues her desperate search for Corinne, asking around in one place after another, but everywhere she goes, people tell her they haven't seen her. Taking a moment to herself, Honey sits in deep thought, trying to clear her mind, when suddenly she spots a bus go by with Drew Devlin's picture plastered across it. She returns to her office and soon receives a call from Marty with critical new information. The medical examiner's latest reports show Amanda's death was not just an ordinary accident. There were knife wounds on her body, the very same kind of wounds found on Hector's murdered grandmother. This reveals a disturbing connection between the two cases, igniting Honey's determination to crack it wide open. She reflects on the evidence and realizes that all the threads point toward one man, Drew Devlin. She knows she must find a way to expose him and bring him down by his own evil deeds. Meanwhile, Drew is busy working alongside Cher, his accomplice, with full focus. After finishing their business, Cher says something strange. The French are not happy. It's clear this French group is another faction they're secretly tied up with. Later, as Honey is heading home, she spots Cher riding her motorcycle. The pieces begin to align in her head, and she hurries to Marty, telling him that Hector has vanished and that neighbors reported hearing gunshots coming from Drew Devlin's house. Honey insists to Marty that Drew Devlin is definitely involved and that he's the reason Hector disappeared, but Marty reminds her that she needs solid, undeniable proof to bring him down. Suspicions alone won't hold up. Honey leaves and goes looking for MJ, but instead of finding her at work, she encounters someone else. Determined, she decides to head over to MJ's house. There, she flips through one of MJ's books and discovers a troubling past. MJ once belonged to a group called the Young Evangelists. This revelation shifts Honey's suspicions toward her. MJ then appears, and Honey confronts her, saying she tried calling and asks why she's avoiding her. Has she stopped caring for her the way she used to? And just imagine, dear viewer, how in a toxic relationship, a woman might constantly accuse her partner of not loving her like before. Now picture that doubled when it's two women together. I'm joking, of course, and I have respect for women who love women. Everyone is free to live as they wish. Freedom for all. But while Honey talks with MJ, MJ begins to show increasingly strange behavior, revealing odd beliefs and unsettling tendencies. Then Honey notices something chilling. On MJ's teacup, there's a trace of the same green lipstick Corinne was wearing. It hits her. MJ is the one who kidnapped Corinne. A fierce fight erupts between them. MJ rages, screaming that she's been wronged by society, that the world only favors the beautiful, while she, with her average looks, has been rejected over and over. In her fury, she begins confessing to everything. She was the one who caused Amanda's car to flip, and she's also been covering up Drew Devlin's dirty deeds. Honey clashes with her with full force, and after a brutal struggle, she manages to end it by firing shots through the teapot, finally putting MJ down. After that brutal fight, Honey searches the place for Corinne, but suddenly collapses unconscious. When she finally opens her eyes, she finds her family gathered around her. Corinne is safe and unharmed. A few days later, once Honey has recovered, Marty tells her that all the cases has been reopened, and thanks to MJ's confessions, they're going to keep chasing Drew Devlin until he finally goes down. At the end of their conversation, Marty asks her out again, but Honey reminds him once more that she only loves women. Later, while driving, Honey stops at a red light, and right beside her pulls up Cher on her motorcycle. What's surprising is the mutual glance they share, a spark of attraction that hints at something new beginning. They introduce themselves, and it looks like Honey might be starting a relationship with Cher. And before you rush to the comments, dear viewer, let me just say, this was hands down the worst film I've watched in 2025, and honestly, I regret even summarizing it. But I wanted to share my misery, so I wouldn't be alone in it. So please, share your thoughts in the comments. Did you actually like this movie, or was it as bad for you as it was for me? That's all for today's video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.